You guys be good, okay? I get whines and whimpers from Hunter and Murphy, who are crowding around my legs as I try to get out. Emo is being her aloof self, curled up on the carpet in front of the fireplace, pretending not to care whether I come or go. But I know the moment I walk out the door, she'll be up on the chair by the window to watch me leave. I already put Peanut and Nugget in the back of the SUV. They have their noses pressed against the glass, tongues lolling, excited to be the ones to come with me this time. More often than not, it's one of the others, needed for their specialized noses. Today, however, it's Peanut's sweet disposition and Nugget's cuddly nature that are important. Where we're going, no one will care Peanut is partially blind, or Nugget has deformed hind legs. This will be our first visit to Wellspring Senior Living, an assisted living facility in Kalispell. I got this gig through my friend Sloan, who is also the one who suggested I move up here from Missoula in the first place. It was less than 5 months ago. I was called out to Libby with Emo to search for human remains in the mountains. I still have occasional nightmares about the boneyard my dog sniffed out, a dumping ground for what turned out to be a pair of serial killers. That's when I met Sloan, who was a detective for the Lincoln Sheriff's Department and my local contact. She and I connected right away and stayed in touch after I returned home, forging the kind of friendship I've been lacking in recent years. All my old friends have slowly disappeared over time, and I haven't exactly done much to hang on to them. They'd all been part of a life I no longer fit into. Connecting with the dogs had been the first tentative step on a new path. The friendship with Sloan had been the next one. If not for her, I wouldn't have been able to gather up the courage to pull up stakes in Missoula and seek out a fresh start here. When I was up here to celebrate Thanksgiving with Sloan, her fiancé Dan, and their families, the subject of relocation came up. It was over a cup of tea on her front porch early the morning after. She asked why I'd seemed preoccupied during dinner, and I mentioned toying with the idea of a fresh start, even though I didn't give her the background. She didn't ask why, which is one of the reasons I like her so much, and simply suggested moving closer to her. She pointed out there would likely be plenty of work for me and the dogs here in the mountains, since I already had connections with law enforcement in the region and left a good impression. The idea had been churning through my head the entire drive back home that afternoon, and by the time I got to Missoula, I'd mostly had my mind made up. The next day, I called the realtor, who helped me buy my property on the outskirts of Missoula 5 years prior, and set the wheels in motion. 2 months later, and here I am, just settled into the dogs and my new digs off Terrace View Road, halfway between the town of Libby and Sloan and Dan's place. The single-story, rustic ranch house came with a couple of acres of property backing onto the banks of Big Cherry Creek. The place even had an outdoor run and kennels since the previous owner had hunting dogs. As I drive away, I glance back at the house and catch sight of Emo's shadow in the large front window. Then I notice the gutter hanging down from the corner and the missing downspout, and realize the term rustic may be giving the place more credit than it deserves. The bones of the house are good, and the previous owner had made a good start on renovations, but ran out of money and enthusiasm, which is why I was able to pick it up for a relative steal and on very short notice. And the property itself is amazing, with beautiful views from the back deck, which had been put in new in the past 2 years.